estás haciendo video?
Sí.
Okay, so I was just explaining to my wife, Monica, in Spanish. I gave her this excellent presentation on really how things work here in the United States and what's going on. And then afterwards, I was like, man, I should have recorded that. So I'm going to record it again in Spanish and put it out there in Spanish. But I figured, let me put it in English. So ahora yo puedo explicar a ti todo en inglés. So now I'm going to explain to my wife everything in English, help her learn her English too. So I was explaining to her that the United States of America exists because prior to the USA, all there was in the world was monarchies. That's all there was. There were just monarchies. You know, kings and queens and tyrants. You know, that was it. And the biggest monarchy in the world, the most powerful, was Britain. Britain was going all around the world, you know, taking over lands and controlling lands, you know, in India and in the Middle East and all over the place. So there were peoples in Europe that were getting tired of the monarchy, right? They were getting tired of being overtaxed, having people come in horseback, soldiers taking their money, you know, raping, pillaging. Basically, you know, the people supporting, protecting the monarchy were just thugs. And the monarchy was just a group of people, you know, that think their shit doesn't stink, think they're better than everybody else, and they got some kind of privilege when they're just human beings like anybody else. But nonetheless, they've got their little monarchy established, and they've got their thugs protecting them, and they've got their armies and whatnot. So here we are, where we have a world that's full of kings and queens and tyrants, and then you have a bunch of people that were getting fed up with it, tired of being raped and pillaged, tired of being overtaxed, tired of being told what to do at every turn. So they came here to the New World, America, the United States of America now. You know, the America's beautiful virgin land. I mean, obviously there were the Indians here that were living off the land and living in harmony with nature and spiritual, you know, wellness. But even within that structure, obviously there were Indian tribes that fought against each other. So there's two arguments that could be made in terms of, you know, the fact that America had a bunch of Indians in it, you know, that sure, on the one hand, this was their land, and they were, you know, living off the land and living in harmony with nature, but they certainly had their tribal wars, and, you know, that goes to a whole other conversation, right, of you know, dominating other lands and wars for gaining territory, which is a whole other topic. But the bottom line is, people came here. And you could even make the argument that there were people that came here that were good people. You know, they came here and they got along with the Indians, and they learned how to plant corn and you know, and do different things. The Indians worked with them. There were Indians and settlers that were in harmony with one another. But Britain came over here, the Brits came over here and tried to take their territory back. It's the bottom line. They came over trying to take their territory back, and they got their asses kicked because the patriarchs, the people that were opposed to the monarchy and the taxation, were obviously the smarter to begin with, and the stronger willed and the stronger character. So they kicked ass on the Brits. Well, what do you think happened? I mean, the bottom line is that we won our independence. But do you think Britain's just going to let territory go that they think is theirs? No. So over the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, they figured they couldn't beat us in war. So they would send over their envoys, their politicians, to intermingle and to get involved, basically to infiltrate. So the monarchy was infiltrating the United States of America with their envoys and their politicians, kind of getting in and intermingling and, you know, bringing money and you know, getting a little influence. So to the most part, we're over the last, you know, 100 years, you know, the American people could vote and they'd get a president that they voted for. Over the last 40, 50 years in particular, that monarchy has really begun to get a stronghold within the United States, within U.S. politics, and they really are behind the creation of the illusion of this thing called the Democrats and the Republicans. You know, the Democratic National Convention, the DNC, oh, they represent the Democrats who have these values. And oh, the RNC, the Republican National Convention, or the GOP, they represent these people that have these values. Well, really, it's one organization. It's the monarchy. It's those who infiltrated our government that created those organizations to make it appear as if though the people have a choice and they can vote, you know, this way or that way. All the while, the ones that really own it and control it, the monarchy that has infiltrated our government through politicians, they're going to get their way anyway, one way or the other, through the left or through the right, through the Democrats or through the Republicans, because they always have politicians in their pocket. They've got the corrupt politicians in their pocket on both sides. So they're going to put in power, they're going to put into office who they want to be there so that they can get their way, so that they can regain their territory, so they can have control over the United States. And they do. And it's now being proven that they do, because Donald Trump, who's neither Republican nor Democrat, you know, he's associated with both as a human being and as a businessman, as he has to, because the world has its workings and its operations. So Donald Trump, being a billionaire, obviously has friends in high places and friends throughout, and some are Democrats and some are Republicans. But he's just a human being. He's a smart, intelligent man, a family man who's got a lot of money, a lot of success, and he's very smart. And he's a sovereigntist. He believes in the sovereignty of the United States of America. He believes in the United States Constitution. He's not in the pocket of the monarchy. He's not beholden to anybody, and he believes in America. So now he runs for presidency, and the majority of Americans and patriots and true Americans are behind him and backing him. So now they're scared shitless because, wow, we got somebody that's not somebody we can manipulate and control who's about to become the president. So now they're actually, here's the proof that the monarchy is in control, because that same group, the RNC, which is really the DNC too, because if Donald Trump ran as a Democrat, they'd be doing it on the Democratic side. He ran as a Republican, so they're doing it on the Republican side. It's a facade. So now they're saying, oh, well, gee, forget the vote. Forget what the people want and forget the delegates and the votes. We're going to decide. We don't like the outcome. We don't like the fact that we're not getting one of our politicians in office to do our deeds and our work and our will. So we'll decide. Screw the people. Screw the voting system, the voting process. We're going to make a decision. That's what's being talked about in the news now on Fox, CNN, which are both mouthpieces for the world elite, which is the monarchy, which has infiltrated the U.S. government. So it's, it gets deeper too, because obviously there's the Vatican, Rome, there's millions of beautiful Catholic people in the world. They're just good people, and they happen to be Catholic because they were raised that way. So there's great people that are Catholic, but the system itself, the papacy, that in itself is a monarchy, and it's in cahoots with the British monarchy. So the Vatican, Rome, the Vatican, the Brits, the monarchy, they're all the same system, and they have their inner circle of rulers around the world, and they're trying to take over the United States. And this is exactly what's happening right now. They're endeavoring to basically say, screw you, American people, screw the voting process. We don't like the fact that all of a sudden we don't have a corrupt politician in our pocket, so we're going to make the decision. And man, do I hope that patriots rise, man, with arms if need be, and put it to rest, and take the monarchy out again, because right now they're in our government and they need to be taken out. And we can do it, and we will. We the people. Power of the people is real. United States Constitution. United States Constitution. Go Donald Trump. Now I'm going to do this video again in Spanish. Okay.